Welcome to Rebel Watch, an all-Star Wars podcast.
Hey, what are you trying to push on us?
Perhaps you think you're being treated unfairly.
Hey Star Wars fans, welcome to Rebel Watch. I'm Ez, and I'm joined by my trusted co-pilot, Mike. How's it going today, buddy?
Pretty well, all the way back here.
Yeah, can you hear us from way over there on YouTube?
I feel like we're far away.
Far away from the camera right now. So if you're watching on YouTube, we have had to back the camera up so much to include all of the merch.
Some of the merch.
Some of, not even all. No, couldn't fit it all on the table. So, Mike, we got some big news.
Yes.
You know, some things we'd like to share again with our listeners and Star Wars fans everywhere. We have an event coming up this weekend.
That's right.
Is that scary?
Yes.
It's a little. I can't believe it's happening.
I feel like we're well prepared.
Yeah, I think we are. I think right,
but not sure.
Yeah, we'll get there. It's our first time. So
it is. There's a first time for everything.
There is, and so we're going to get better at this. But for those of you that don't know, we are going to be live at Barnes & Noble on May 12th at 11 a.m.
11 a.m. to 3 p.m. as it's a long podcast.
It's a long podcast.
Do we have it in us?
We'll see.
Perfect.
We will see. We might have to, hook the professor up to the computer and see if we can get a little extra juice out of the Falcon. But actually, let's talk about the structure of the show, if you don't mind. We're in Council of Elders, by the way. This is Council of Elders, where we kind of give you guys some updates on the show and talk about what's coming. And if you are coming to that event, what will folks see, Mike?
Well, as I heard, Low Gray is actually going to make a personal appearance.
Right. Yes.
For those of you familiar with the Ewoks in Bright Tree Village, I heard he's going to make an appeappearance.
He'll be there. He said he would be there. We're counting on him to help us through that.
May have
our event.
A prior engagement, but we'll see.
Right.
I mean, we'll say he's tentatively coming.
Right. Right. We've got him penciled in. So, but no. What else will they see? We've got laid out kind of a 3-part show. Maybe
you and I are going to do our own. You could call it a standard hour-long segment. Going to probably be pretty heavily focused on Solo, right? I think a lot of it's going to be Solo inspired. But you know what, you just never know what we're going to talk about.
No, you really don't.
It could be general Star Wars discussion. We're going to talk about our own personal Star Wars experiences, your experience with Children's Hospital. Really, the reason why we're doing this.
Yeah, for sure. For sure,
because there is a bigger meaning behind this than just having a live podcast. It's become more than just trying to interact with a community.
Yeah,
it's now there's a purpose behind the podcast more so than we had before, right?
Well, Mike, you're getting serious on me. You're getting
serious moment.
You're getting real serious on me, and I'm with you. I would say it's kind of like forces of destiny, right?
Yeah.
It's the idea that this podcast now has a mission, right?
Yes.
We've got a goal. We've kind of honed in on something, and I wasn't really going to talk about this now, but we might as well. I have to give a big shout out to my good buddy Lane Smith and Joel Smith, both of them. Lane's father talked to me on Sunday, and I don't know, man. Something I was so inspired by what he said and the energy in which he spoke. I was motivated, and I kind of like this realization that we love what we do, right? We love talking Star Wars.
Yeah.
And we love making connections to our own lives and to others, and it's just such a like I said, I've said this a couple of times, but man, when I was going through some hard times, I believed that through the Force I could do anything.
Yeah.
There was nothing I couldn't do.
That's absolutely true.
And it's starting to kind of come back. I'm starting to believe again that I can do anything.
Because the Force is in us all.
It is. It really is.
It's there. You have to tap into it. And I think, I don't know, it's kind of, it falls so well in line with this new concept of the Force, and that it's in all of us. And you really just have to tap into it. We're having our own sort of enlightenment.
We are.
I guess you could say, right? And a purpose for for this podcast, yeah, it's to have fun. Yeah, it's to interact with Star Wars fans. Yeah, it's especially about speculating on Star Wars.
Absolutely.
But there's another element now which gives it purpose.
Yeah.
And as we went out and tried to get supporters for the fundraiser.
We did, didn't we?
Right?
We tried.
Put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears trying to get people to come on board.
Right.
Not so much individuals, but companies.
Yes.
And as they have their own engagements.
They do.
Right? They have their own engagements. They have their own programs in which and that's absolutely fine.
It is.
So we said, put up or shut up.
Right.
And we went out and we got the merch ourselves.
We did. We're not even done. We got so much merch. We're not even finished.
We're not done.
And really, I was thinking more too when we were going and we were buying our prizes for the raffle, and then just giveaways and things to put a lightsaber in a kid's hand.
Yeah.
Or to put a Jedi Master.
Yeah.
In a kid's hands. That to me in and of itself is going to be something.
And this just kind of,
let's get there.
This just kind of came to me as because there might be some people there.
Yeah.
And if this isn't as great as we anticipate it being, that's fine. But this could be some kid or anyone's first exposure to Star Wars. Mm-hmm. The energy in which we have for this franchise could really, it could not so much inspire a kid, but it could have an effect on a kid.
Yep.
And you give them, a prize or a giveaway or, something like that. This could be their first exposure to Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. And it's an honor and a privilege, right, to be able to do that.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. It's kind of crazy the way we stumbled into this. And like you said, it just felt like, we started doing this and I was like, well, I kind of got a little down on myself there for a little bit about the hiccups and the bumps along the way. But then I talked to you, my friend.
Yeah.
And I kind of got back to where, why am I doing this? What's the whole point? What's the purpose? And what's the goal? And I think in talking to my friends over the weekend, there is a greater purpose. There is something that we want to kind of try and accomplish. And it is that inspiration that you mentioned right there.
Yeah.
To be that spark.
You got to be, there has to be a spark.
It's crazy, that we use that line from one of the most hated Star Wars films of all time. What?
I think people are starting to get sick of me referencing Star Wars so much in my everyday life. Mm-hmm. Can't help it. It's so relatable.
It is.
This fact that you need this spark to light a fire to
burn,
to make change.
To make change, exactly.
To be a force for good.
Yep.
You have to have that, and if that's inspiring kids through through toys or whatever interaction, I mean, sign me up.
Right.
I don't know. I'm excited. I'm very nervous, but I'm very excited.
You should be, and I'm with you on that. I just, like, whether it's books and like passing on what we have learned, because there is such a big verse, right? Star Wars verse that we do want to pass on what you and I have learned, and we've learned over those years, and we like to kind of I don't know. It's just it's a galaxy that you can get lost in. You can find new hope in. There's you can find yourself, and I don't know, man. It's really meaningful, and we're really going through like a super like moment, on the podcast, and it's great. So I don't know, man. It makes inspired.
I feel like we're going to talk a lot about Solo in that first hour discussion. We'll get to the other stuff here in a second, but I'm thinking it's going to be a Last Jedi discussion too.
Oh, I think so too. You have to.
Yeah.
Because it's what we know, and it's the last thing that we've been exposed to. So there's going to be that whole piece. I also believe, my friend, that we're going to have to talk about Rebels.
Yes.
Because Star Wars, and even under the leadership of George Lucas, was going in this animated direction, and it was a way in which it was a different format that he felt he could, teach a lesson and tell a story and pass on what George had learned. And David Filoni has kept doing that, and it's mind blowing, and it's such a good story and entertaining TV show too. That like, and it just ended, and there was so much in it. We haven't even unpacked it all yet.
Yeah,
we've been wanting to have more of a roundtable discussion with our friends about the ending.
Yeah,
so many things that we could, because we're gonna, once we get past Solo, we will start to speculate on 9.
Yes,
we will start to speculate on the Resistance TV show that is coming, the animated series there. And then also what's happening with our characters in Rebels. Where do they go? What, let your imagination run wild,
Absolutely.
So I don't know, man. I'm super excited for that. So
it's that next phase. They've already, lit the spark.
Right.
We know what happens with the Rebels on a bigger scale in the Empire, but what purpose then do they serve? Do they just kind of retire out of things? I mean,
yeah, it's a good,
who knows?
Right.
Who knows? And it's cool because you'll have people that are going to grow with the show or grow into what it's going to become, which is really cool, because that's the thing. I feel like if you're a Star Wars fan when you're younger, you're probably going to be a Star Wars fan for life. Maybe. I don't know.
Sure.
Maybe. And I think Disney's doing a good job of tapping into those, age groups and making things really relatable for a lot of different groups. I mean, look, we got all this awesome Forces of Destiny merchandise. That was something you didn't see 5 years ago.
No. No.
It's just, I don't know. It's really cool. It's really cool. So, and this new Resistance piece is going to be more of an anime feel. So they're tapping into even, another, animated kind of genre, I guess. Maybe not a genre, but a style.
Right.
That appeals to other people. So it's, I don't know, man. It's a very inclusive universe, and that's what's so cool, and it's so relatable. Well, on so many levels.
It is so relatable, and like you said, it's a big verse. You can go to the different places in it.
Yeah.
It's cool. You can enter, and then there are so many different groups and organizations and pieces. I mean, look no further than Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah.
When you and I were there, the different factions and groups and people who liked, this piece of Star Wars or that or what have you, and I don't know. It just it's balanced. It
is very balanced.
It's balanced, and
it's a smart business model. It's a smart. It's just. I don't know. I really appreciate what they've done with what Disney has done with the franchise. It's just, it is balanced, man.
Yeah,
and you need that balance.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you on that.
Not like Thanos.
No, no,
but in a different way.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's funny.
Same family there, but so that's the first hour.
Yeah, exactly. That's the
maybe
first
an hour and a half. Now that we're
getting into it. Yeah.
Matt and Fogel are gonna have their own segment as well,
right? And I'll be honest with you, you and I are completely in the dark.
Could be, I don't know. Actually, could be a dance contest. Best dancers in the galaxy. We have no idea.
We have no
idea.
Clue. It could be an in-depth study on the Sarlacc pit.
It could be an hour of Empire at War battles.
Yeah, I mean, it really could be. With those two, you just don't know.
Yeah, never know. Couple rookies on Empire at War just not knowing how to do bombing.
Oh, by the way, yeah, May the 4th was an interesting day for Rebel Watch. We did a lot of business moves and finagling.
How else did we celebrate?
We also we had an epic battle of Empire at War.
Yeah. It was about 3 hours.
No, it was 4 or 5
hours. Yeah.
I mean, it was
a chunk of the night.
It was a good chunk. And at one point, Mike had me on the ropes.
Yeah, I didn't know it because you guys were so silent in the other room.
Dude, well, we were mouthing to, I literally turned.
Using hand signals.
I turned back to Matt and I was like, drop everything and fall back to the base. Stop your stupid person. What are you doing? Turn around. Mike's got us on the ropes here.
On the ropes, man.
So at one point Matt is just dropping, ships and tanks and he was dropping too many tanks. I said, drop infantry. We're gonna lose. Yeah. We're gonna lose that wave.
Get those checkpoints.
Checkpoint. So
you pulled a trick out of the old hat.
Yeah.
And something I had forgotten was you really need to utilize those heroes.
You do. Yep.
And you sent an old Jedi Master.
I did.
To our base, unsuspecting. I'm pretty sure he's not even detectable on the radar. I never saw him on the radar.
I figure
he snuck right in and was like getting on the Death Star.
Dude, I literally at one point when we were under attack, I was like, Matt, what are you doing? He fell back. He did his thing.
Yeah.
He's like, well, what are you gonna do? Watch.
I'm gonna penetrate.
Watch and learn, son. You know, I had to take him through the, you know.
Yeah.
So I attacked from the north. I actually sent my horde down to the center.
You did.
And I sent Obi-Wan directly across the top of the
diversion.
map. It was a diversion.
It was.
You sent all of your forces to counter it, and I took Obi-Wan straight inside
and he
the base.
destroyed our base, and we could not recover from that.
And it's a risky move, though, because you've got to stay on Obi-Wan the whole time and force heal and provide resistance.
You do.
While he's in the
So the other person
territory.
has to be sending in troops and tanks.
And you almost need to send in a hero to take out Obi-Wan.
Love it.
So
I can't wait till we can capture some of those moments, because
that would have been one to capture. That was
would
a
have
great
been
battle.
Oh, if you would have screen captured that whole thing,
I know.
Obi-Wan just owning the entire base. We didn't know what was going on.
It was crazy. At one point, you guys couldn't drop anymore. We got your satellite communication and couldn't call in reinforcements. That's how we were able to turn the tide. But
we were playing with a couple rookies, though. We kind of had to show them the ropes.
I think you sent Fogel in at one point.
I did. I was like, Fogel, your Emperor's just sitting there, and you're not using him. Get on him. And I said, go convert those troops there. He said, sounds good, boss. Walks the Emperor over into the middle of the troops. I'm like, all right, man, convert them.
Right.
Convert them now. There's like 15 tanks you can get there.
Right.
Yep, sounds good.
Got it, man. Got it.
Nothing was happening. I was like, you don't know how to convert the troops, dude. He's not a clue, man.
No.
I was like, we should have talked about this 4 hours ago.
Yeah. It is funny. You know, Matt didn't know how to use the powers either on the heroes. It's tricky, you know.
Much to learn. They still
we just jumped into it and we said you're going to learn on the fly.
And they did. They did a great job.
They did a good job
for what we gave them. They did a great job. So I would love to capture some of that. In the future,
absolutely.
But we don't know what to expect from those guys. I know it's going to be good though. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
For sure. We will also then the final third of the live event. We will have Star Wars trivia trials. Maybe. That's still being built happen. As. Oh, that might have been. Was it? I think we just got a text message here.
That was you.
That is Mark Hamill, and he might be
he wants to donate.
He might be attending
with Low Gray.
I think he said Low Gray was his ride, so we'll see if he can make it.
A magical starship.
Oh my god! As long as they bring the magical walking stick, we'll be fine.
Can you imagine if we could auction off something like that?
Dude.
Actually, I think we could. We could probably find a stick.
We could
call it magical.
Well, we wouldn't call it magical. We'd have to get Warwick Davis to come in and
that's true.
Give it a little. Yeah, and then magic. There it is.
I love it.
So anyways, we would do some trivia trials. If anything, though, we have about 15 to 20 different items that we're going to be just giving away for answering trivia correctly.
I mean, we got comic books.
Yeah.
We have lightsabers giveaway.
We do.
It's going to be great. And so action figures. So if trivia trials happens, you better expect some impromptu trivia bursts happening.
Absolutely.
Asking some kid, hey, what's the name of the Sith Lord from episode 1?
Right.
Got it right. Here's a comic book.
There it is.
Here's a lightsaber. Well done.
Yeah.
If you don't get it, maybe we'll give you something on the bottom tier.
Right.
Like a reversible, pillowcase or something.
Exactly. Yeah, on the bottom. That would be, that would definitely be bottom tier. But
it's not exciting, but
but hey, it's still Star
your
Wars.
Parents will appreciate it.
You can sleep on it at night. It's great.
Exactly.
We might ask questions like who's the greatest Jedi, in the galaxy?
Yeah.
And,
totally.
You better get that one right.
Absolutely. So, there's only one right answer.
There really is.
We won't tell you what it is, but I think you might be able to guess.
Right. Yeah.
And it's not Low Gray. I mean,
unfortunately,
he may or may not be a Jedi. I still think we're not certain of that.
We're not sure what he is.
Because in new canon, he might be a Jedi Master.
They're bringing him back. I don't know if people knew that, but Low Gray is actually he's about to be canonized. So. But that's basically some giveaways. The raffle, we will have a junior raffle, which is most of the stuff that you see. Actually, not most. There's more sitting down in front of the camera that you guys on YouTube will not be able to see.
That's right.
For folks who are listening though on Podbean and iTunes, we've got a Kylo Ren Blade Builder's saber. We've got.
I might keep that actually.
Yeah, actually, I know. I was like, wow, that's pretty awesome. We were looking for an FX. The FX lightsabers are like sold out.
I can't find them in stock anywhere. You could order something, but
we didn't think we would need to. We thought we could just because I've seen them. I used to see them all the time. They're out. They're fresh out. We might be able to find one. We'll take another look around the Columbus area. We also got a Forces of Destiny Ray staff. We've got some
also
some Force Link stuff going on. Forces of Destiny. Lots of different cool things there. Get some throws, some pillows, some cool different stuff there. And in our upper tier, we're gonna have anywhere from we've got a bunch of Black Series figures. Yeah. Like I said, if we can find that FX lightsaber,
that'd be sick.
That'd be really sick.
That would be sick.
We also have the Barnes & Noble donated the turn. What do you call that thing?
Turntable.
Turntable. That's what I thought. I've been calling it. What was I calling it earlier?
I don't know.
I had no idea what I was calling it. I was making
lunch
stuff
pail.
Up.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was a lunch.
That's a big lunch pail.
Whoa.
I guess you could convert it.
You could make some modifications.
That's right.
So yeah, those are some of the gifts that we're going to be raffling away. So come on in and we'll have at it there. Yeah. Now, folks who would like to contribute online and you just want to donate, please. That would be awesome. We would love to get that going. You can go to GoFundMe.com/Rebel Watch Force for Good.
Nailed it
that time, didn't I?
Yeah.
And that is actually Rebel Watch Force for FORGOOD.
That's right.
Force for Good.
Nailed it.
All right. So you guys can do that. Also, if you would like to purchase something online, we will have a book fair going on at Barnes & Noble. So basically, I think it's anywhere from 10 to 15%, of the sale of an item in the store will go to help us benefit. We'll benefit our fundraiser for Children's Hospital, and so we're excited about that. We have a book fair ID, which will also be down in the description. But if you're buying online, you want to provide it's a voucher code. That is 123-69203.
Very nice.
Want to give that to him one more time, Mike?
Yeah, that's a 123-69203, and that's good for any purchase in the store. I just want to remind everyone that's not just books, that's not just toys, that's anything. You just simply go up. I want to support Rebel Watch and Nationwide Children's. Throw in the voucher code, and like I said, that percentage will go straight to the benefit. So that is really awesome that Barnes & Noble does that. It's
exciting, and honestly, I think we have some folks at the cash register just going to ask, are you here for the event? And hopefully people will say, yep, sure I am.
Absolutely.
At least they heard us upstairs podcasting live.
Yes.
And so some of that will come to our fundraiser. So we're really excited about that, but it actually will run online from 5/12/18 until 5/17/18. So I'm not sure what day of the week that is. But so you can actually order stuff online at bn.com/book fairs. You can visit there and you can support us for a couple more days. I think in store it's like for a couple of days. I think it's till Monday. So you can kind of support us this whole weekend. Basically, if you're at Barnes & Noble and you have the voucher code that you don't want to buy on Saturday, you can buy on Sunday.
Absolutely.
So
it's going to be awesome.
All right. I think that was the longest Council of Elders we've ever done.
Thank you, Lil Gray.
Thank you. Appreciate that. So we will move on. We have some more good stuff to dive into. By the way, I do want to mention before we go any further, the second part of this podcast today is we have a special guest. Her name is Grace Chatfield, and I am really excited to introduce our listeners to her. She is a good friend.
She's so down with Legends material. One may say that she is, down in the Sarlacc pit.
Right.
Or what's the cave in Jabba's palace? What's a Rancor?
The Rancor, yeah.
One may say that she's so down, she's down with the Rancor.
Right.
She's deep in Legends.
Yeah, she's hiding under that bench that Luke, is hiding under. She's
in there. Yeah.
Oh gosh, she's standing next to Dengar in the widescreen edition.
Yes.
In Jabba's palace.
Yeah, she's
in the back.
She's really
taking notes. She's taking notes in the back. By the way,
absolutely.
So yeah, she's super cool and very knowledgeable and really enjoys talking Star Wars. Yeah. So we're excited to have her on as a guest and maybe a reoccurring guest from time to time. She just enjoys Legends material, and so we will be talking about Legends books, kind of going over some of what she and I have read and maybe where things might go. We get into a neat conversation that involves the Mortis gods.
Wow.
So stay tuned for that. I know. Yeah, deep.
Some canon, some legend.
Yeah, we throw exactly. We're all over the place.
I like it.
It's good. It's a real good mixed batch. So stay tuned for that. All right, let's jump into some HoloNet news. Basically, my friend, when just moments ago, you had told me, and I thought this was complete.
You thought I made it up, right?
I want to check your source on this, and this cannot be.
I couldn't tell you what the source was that I read it from.
That's what I thought.
It wasn't fake news.
Did you actually read it off of the internet?
It was one of those you go on your iPhone and you get the news source. Well, for as much Star Wars stuff as I look up, I get a Star Wars section now with dedicated articles.
Good.
I clicked on one of those, and guy was talking about speculation for 9. And I was like, we're already in it.
We're good. Yep.
I guess I couldn't even tell you what Reddit is, but I know it's maybe a forum for discussions. Is that?
That's what it is.
Pretty much what it is. Yep. Never been on the website in my life.
Yeah. So let's just go ahead and tell people this. Yeah. So those people who thought that we were taking some stuff off of Reddit. Mike's never been there.
Never been on the website.
He didn't know what it was when I brought it up to him.
I had no idea what it was, so I'm still looking forward to get on there. What I'm scared of is if there's this much speculation on Reddit about Star Wars, I may never leave the website.
Right, yeah, we might want to hold you back.
I might host my own discussion.
Well, wow.
Via the podcast,
okay,
of course.
Good. Okay,
yeah,
good.
yeah, you'd definitely be included.
You had me.
But as we said last week, just speculating that what if they had a 2-part, episode 9? What if it was they took a book or took a page from the book of Harry Potter or Hunger Games or all the other, huge franchises now, and they made a 2-part, movie at the end, drew it out for another year.
It would be crazy. I mean, it would absolutely be crazy. I think the issue with it is just that they're numbered, that we have these. Yeah. Would it be episode 9 part 1?
I think so.
And then episode 9 part 2?
That's what they did with Hunger Games.
Wow.
Mockingjay or whatever that thing was called.
Right, yeah.
So on Reddit and other forums, which once again, the closest thing to a forum I get is YouTube comments. I mean, I was taught to stay away from those chat rooms.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Mostly because our dial-up, didn't allow us to have phone use and, internet usage.
Couldn't support it.
But, there's some predators out there.
Right.
But I guess I was on Yahoo Messenger.
You were.
I think I technically still am on Yahoo Messenger.
You are. MC Johnson _.
Back MC _ Johnson 2001. Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay.
So hit me up on Yahoo Messenger if you're.
See if you can find Mike on there.
I think might still be McCoy Boy.
I think. Matt was just saying the other day, it's time to bring those names back.
I agree.
Hopscotch Hero.
Yeah.
Wow.
A whole new Twitter.
Good Lord.
But they're talking about this. And this article is going through speculations of what could be possible. And that was mentioned. And I was like, get off of me. Did you watch our YouTube video?
Someone stole that.
I don't know, man. Sometimes I think people are watching the podcast.
Well, sometimes all you got to do is look as far as Collider, and their whole Jedi Council is
Mike and Ez just speculation.
Did they just?
It's and I know they are because ours
we come out on Tuesday and they come out on Thursday.
Exactly.
I don't get it.
It's ridiculous.
We got to change that.
I was just blown away because sometimes we'll go and watch other YouTube videos and stuff, but it's so early on. There's not much out there with Star Wars podcasters and stuff because they're talking about Solo. They're still talking about The Last Jedi. Some of them, but
as they should,
exactly. But you do have Mike Zero out there just literally saying whatever needs to be said to get 10,000 views in 3 hours. I don't know how it happens, but it does. But I could not believe that is something people are taking seriously.
Well, I think you were surprised that of all the things that could be speculated about, that was a reoccurring thing that you saw.
Yes.
A couple of times after we had talked about it here on the pod. Not that they actually really did hear it and then went and talked about it, but I think because we had heard that before. You had heard that before as well too. But it's the idea that why is that popping up so much? You know, I mean, that's kind of how the rumor mill is, right? You know, something will pop up and it'll run for a while, and then okay, that doesn't make any sense, and then you know we hop on something else, and that's okay. But it is interesting. That is one thing that I never thought would come up.
No, and
I didn't think that would ever be a part of the discussion.
Well, I think a lot of people also didn't think that an Infinity War would have, I mean, call it a two-parter. I think kind of, right? I think a lot of people thought midway through the movie or something, Thanos might kind of like destroy half of the galaxy, but then the latter half, it would be fixed and the movie would resolve and the next Avengers would be something else or whatever.
Yeah.
They've kind of tested it.
Right.
Everyone's pumped. I heard now that the next Avengers movie is going to be a 4-hour movie.
Wow.
They are not afraid to actually say, we have all this stuff to do and we're going to do it. I think Star Wars needs to do that. Even if it takes 2 movies, this could be the most epic battle, war that the stars have ever seen.
Well, and you know, look at Last Jedi. I think what story, you know, give the director 10 to 15 more minutes to work with.
Yes.
I'll watch it. And actually, we saw some of the scenes that were taken out. And again, he felt, you know, that was the movie he wanted to put out there. But that was the movie that he wanted to put out there inside of that time frame, I feel like. I kind of want to know how much they are bound to, you know, this is what's going to, if it's too long, it's, no, I mean, especially with a fandom like this, we're already in it, you know, and I get you're trying to bring new people in here and there, but we're midway through a trilogy here. Yeah. So and actually a 9-part saga. Yeah. I think could have changed. They might have changed. You know, that could be different now.
I think I don't know. We need a big epic ending. Yeah. This could be the last Skywalker saga installment.
Right, and that is something.
It needs to be epic.
It does need to be epic. That is a little scary to think about. Because we have one film left to kind of finish that all up, and it's just, it's gonna be a lot. It's a lofty task. And I'm with you. When I think about how, I agree with people in that The Last Jedi actually feels more like The Force Awakens Part 2, because of the way and the time where it took place, and it just feels like a continuation in a sense. I don't know. People are going to argue with that, but people are going to be because people think it ignored a lot of the you know, plot devices
also
and things.
Fair.
I don't know that it did. I think it I don't know. I think you know, just the way in which Ryan, we're going to get into a Last Jedi discussion, but the way in which he wrote it, you know, kind of just lended to it being. I mean, I feel like it happens directly right after The Force Awakens, and I think it did carry some of the themes, you know, and carried, you know, more of this piece. But the shift was, it's so big, and we had so many legacy characters, like Luke Skywalker, that we had to get in there. And you know, and how are you going to do him justice?
Exactly.
You know, and so he needed this part 2 of that. I would call first installment. It's crazy because I'm thinking about it that you know, more and more like the way that 2-part type of idea. But I don't know.
Well, he also, by saying I want to know what happens immediately right now, he's limiting himself. I mean, he could have easily, you know, they get to Octu, find Luke Skywalker, and then the Resistance was not tracked to their base, and they could have kind of gone from there. That would have been cool. But since he's saying they were tracked, I mean, it's just somewhat relentless action on that part, and there's not a whole. I mean, if they kind of brought it back down, I mean, they kind of did with Canto Bight. If they brought it back down to more of a just relaxed feel, I don't know. Maybe they did. They were on Octu for a while. Canto Bight was kind of boring. So maybe they did. I don't really know what I'm saying, but in that movie itself, it's impressive in that for as little development as there was, I mean, Luke Skywalker aside, the lessons in that little short amount of time that we learn are way there's way more meat on the bone there than there was, you know, with The Force Awakens.
That's for sure. And that's why I said, you know, it was dripping with lessons and themes, and you know, every line had meaning. You know, the I don't know, the script or what have you was great. It was great. I know people don't like where the story went and wish you would have had more time in between those two films and stuff, because really there's no room really to tell a whole lot of story between there. Your comic book series, your novels, etc. Even the video game Battlefront 2 danced around it with the second part to their story. So,
but with 4 hours you can't. With 4 hours you can have an epic story. You can have great lessons, and you can just have an epic, just all out fight.
Yeah, for sure.
We need that.
For sure. Okay, I'm down.
We need people to be excited about that Skywalker saga, because if this isn't successful, are they really going to come back 10 years later and make more movies about the Skywalkers?
I don't know. I think it is a lofty. Episode 9 does worry me in that I don't know how it's going. We haven't even. You and I are saving a lot of our speculation until we get through Solo, get that done, and then we're gonna flip the switch. But when I think about it, which is
a lot,
every second of every day, I don't really know how they're gonna pull it off. I don't really know what's gonna happen. So and I need to keep thinking about it and keep meditating on it.
That's great too.
So
that's great though.
All right. So okay. So let's dance out of the HoloNet here, and let's dance into some pondering with Kenobi. And we kind of had this tone, I think, to this podcast already. That's a little bit more subdued, somber, sentimental.
Well, we can change that.
We can, and I think we're going to. But it's also this mixed batch here. What are some things that do you want to do? What are you pondering about? What are some things you'd like to ponder on?
I've been pondering a lot on how this, live podcast is going to go.
Yeah, me too. That's why this episode is a little bit more. We were gearing up for this coming Saturday. By the way, we're streaming that on YouTube.
Yes.
And I believe you'll have the audio version maybe on Facebook. We'll see how that works, but for sure on YouTube. And then we will upload the edited version onto iTunes and Podbean and such.
Absolutely. So you have to watch. If you want to watch it live, something may happen. Who knows?
Right.
You may see some kid exposed to Star Wars for the first time.
Right. You
may see me and Ez just sitting there by ourselves.
Right.
Interacting with no one.
Most likely.
I mean, I don't know.
No, just doing what we do, talking Star Wars.
Couple 30-year-olds with a bunch of toys. I mean, who wouldn't want to let their child come up and talk to us about Star Wars? You know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly.
I mean, I want to appeal to the audience, but who knows? I've been pondering on that a lot.
Right. Okay. Fair.
I also just I'm pondering on Solo. Because more so than even episode 9, which is tough to think about, it's like, this movie better be good. And what's crazy is this thing, the tracking for this movie at this point in time, for how long or how far we are out from the movie,
right,
when comparing it to something like Black Panther, I think it's tracking at making double what that movie, how it was tracking.
Really?
At this time. Yeah, which is crazy. A lot of people didn't know about Black Panther, but it still had that Marvel hype right before Infinity War.
Okay. Yep.
The fact that it's a Star Wars product is generating a lot of that.
Yeah.
But the fact also that this doesn't involve, Harrison Ford. There's no other, recognizable faces other than Chewbacca. Like, this seems like it's going to be a success. Dang if I'm wrong, but like I'm worried. What if we are just I don't know.
Yeah,
what if we're just blown away? Like, we're taken by surprise, and it's just terrible because there's building up so much hype now.
I know, you're right. We have gotten a little carried away, haven't we?
A little optimistic.
Right. We're super optimistic. And we tried to say we weren't going to set that bar that high, right?
Yeah.
So I think it needs to just be more of a, let's go have fun with it.
Yes.
We keep saying that.
I know.
And I do think we have to understand that it is going to be a different type of movie.
Yeah.
It really is. It's going to be sort of this, crime, big heist, job of a movie. So that's interesting. I'm with you on that a little bit. I am wondering what's going to happen. I haven't thought too much about the react because I know that you and I will enjoy it. But but what if we're in there cringing?
Well, that's the thing.
And I don't want that.
I think a big reason for me feeling this way is because we read The Last Shot, and because the discourse was so fluid. And I know a lot of with reading something like that, a lot of it's in your mind how that dialogue's going, but there was also something to say about his writing style and how it fits so well with those characters. And I was actually picturing like Alden Ehrenreich and Childish like interacting in the earlier scenes and things like that.
Right. And I was too a little bit, actually. I've seen their faces now, and it was hard to kind of not say, okay, there's a young Lando. Yeah. And you almost did like in your mind, it's a blended version of the two. Right?
I was blending, original Lando and Han Solo with those new faces.
Right.
And maybe that's to my detriment, and it'll be nothing like I imagine. It just won't hit the mark. Yeah. So a little bit of that has me concerned that I've already formulated in my mind how it's going to be, and I'm sure we all have from seeing those interactions before.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
Ponder me sideways. I just don't know.
I think it's going to be okay. I think it's going to be fine. It's going to be a decent movie, and I think we're going to like it. I believe that they probably came in and said we need to throw a lot of Easter eggs and nuggets in here for people that they'll catch and like, oh, that's cool. I know where that reference is coming from, or what have you. So subtle, but I think there'll be more of those than what we see in the main saga. I think there was enough of those in Rogue One. They didn't need a whole lot. It was a great story, just a great Rogue One blew us out of the water. So I hope this comes close to that. Maybe not. I don't think it can. I don't think it can be better than Rogue One. And I hope I'm eating my words. I hope that I am eating my words, but I don't think it can. So
do you remember this big of a campaign push for Rogue One?
No.
The advertisements and the product placement.
It started earlier, that's for sure.
Yeah. So maybe it bled kind of slow, but this is just, I felt like it wasn't there for a long time.
Right, there was nothing. There was nothing.
Relentless,
which is fine. It's a tactic, and I think they're using it to their advantage because they definitely had you and I who were kind of, being more skeptical than we normally are. Yeah, exactly.
What's a shill?
I have no idea.
We were accused of being shills. No, that's a thing.
Oh, okay. Well,
I still don't know.
Disney hasn't told us what our official title is, so I thought maybe
it's shills. I don't know. I also haven't read it, so
yeah. So, anyways,
what's Ez been pondering on? Because I feel like it's something maybe a little dark.
Wow, something a little dark. No, it's actually full of light. It's I've been thinking this whole as we started the podcast off about some of my favorite Star Wars memories.
Yes.
And things that are attractive about this universe, and just where you and I have come.
That's a much better discussion than Solo. I haven't been pondering very well, and I'm sorry.
No, I mean, no. I want you to, because that's we need to talk about that for sure. But I think we're going to take an aside here, step away for a second, and just maybe think about, I don't know. We get back to what we're doing and what we're doing this Saturday and what we want to do in the future, running this campaign, A Force for Good, and trying to, give back to our community and make a difference, influence, pass on what we've learned, all those good things. And to do that, I think we reflect a little bit. We think back, we ponder on, as Obi-Wan did in Episode 4. He pondered a lot, didn't he? I mean,
he did.
He was in this place where he was on the he could just see, in the horizon a new hope. Right? He could see the new hope coming, but he had to face the dark times.
The dark times. The Empire.
Right.
And
so that's kind of a place in which we are. I think you and I both personally have reflected a lot here the last couple months, and things be a changing, in our lives and things, and like this is a peaceful, good, positive place for us.
Yeah,
and and I want to keep it that way, and I want to just keep doing what we're doing. Just get better and better and better, more consistent, more just the juicier content, all this good stuff. We're kind of honing in. We've got some water that's been you know, it's we've tapped in, we've got a well, right? But the water's coming up and it's just kind of getting everywhere.
That's right.
Right? Kind of like sand does.
Yeah, it does.
So it's kind of getting everywhere. And I think you and I have got together and said it's time to focus it. You know, and it's time to build something and funnel this water into something. So that's been what I've been pondering on, and I thought, you know, in a lighthearted way to kind of cap some of that. Let's talk about some of our favorite memories. With Star Wars. What are some of yours?
I think hands down, Celebration was probably one of our best moments.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, being around people who look at this franchise the same way we do. It's not just about the products. It's not just about the movies. It's about it's something bigger. And I think when you guys introduced me to Star Wars, you know, I was quite a bit older than you were.
Yeah.
But it was something hopeful.
Yeah.
For me. Like you, like, I mean, both of us, we didn't come from much.
No.
You know, and we came from pretty modest upbringings. It was just something hopeful in the fact that I believe that there is something out there, you know. There's some, literally some farm kid who, and I had seen the original Star Wars when I was much younger, but didn't appreciate that. Yeah, this kid has, you know, this Skywalker blood in him, but it's the circumstances, it's the choices he makes, it's the people who influence him and who lead him down a good path. There was so much hope, I mean, literally built into the title of the movie, but
right.
This, you can become something, and yeah, sometimes it takes some help, but it also is determined a lot by your choices.
Yeah.
And that's something that you don't always get to relate to with someone if you don't have a best friend who's also a Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
But when you go to some place like Celebration, nearly everyone senses that same hope in this franchise, and it's real and it's tangible. It's not just movies. It's not just books. It's not just lightsabers. It's something bigger. And that's why I think it keeps us coming back and back. Even if you have what some may call a subpar movie, there's still it's something tangible that becomes you.
Right.
That is, it's more than just, you know, a blockbuster movie now.
Oh, it is. I mean, like, one of the reasons we, you know, those of you who are listening and all of us who are Star Wars fans realize and appreciate what this is because it changed the world. I mean, Mike, it changed the world. Like, there's no getting around it. You can talk to, you know, we were watching Empire of Dreams, and they talk there. We've got authors and journalists and people who talk about the shift and change in our nation and our society and our culture. And it just, like, it's crazy. But this one movie, kind of this, it's this, and you know what? I don't even really, it's not really that it's a movie. It's the story. It's the story that has changed things, and it's just like, wow, it's inspiring. So I'm with you on that. I think that's Celebration was one of my top 3 moments in Star Wars, my Star Wars life or whatever. It was one of the top 3. It was just, I could not believe the positivity. I'm a big believer in rewarding, positive comments and feedback and just positivity with positivity. Yeah. I think that's kind of how I try to live my life. And to go there, it was just overwhelming. It was. The inspiration, the stories, the kindness, the compassion, the community, just people who wanted to, just good people. I mean, it was something. So, you know, I don't know.
It's in the name of the convention. It is truly a celebration. Yeah. And for $140 or whatever we spent on those tickets, you can't put a price tag on the experience and the feeling you get. It literally is a celebration of that universe. Yeah. It was honestly a priceless experience. Like just thinking about it and like having now those nostalgic moments where we will hear something or smell something or sleep on a hard surface where you're just like, it takes me back.
It does. I know.
I know. It's so crazy. It was just, I don't know. That was a game changer for me. It makes me want to go back every year, and it's a great, strategy on Disney's part, and it's a great event that they put together. But it's more than just the releases of the movies or snippets or toys, or it honestly is being around all those people that share that same passion, and is really a celebration. Mm-hmm. They could not call it anything better.
Yeah.
Is a celebration. I know of nothing else on that scale to where people just want to be around other people. It could be the same thing every year, and people would not care.
No, we wouldn't. No, not at all. Not at all. Talking about sharing things, right? Yeah. So one of the other things I was thinking about, like one of my fonder moments too, was the experiences that I shared with my friends.
Yeah.
And like you said, a lot of us had, seen Star Wars and different things, but when we kind of, when that side of you comes out in high school, you're trying to be cool, right? You're trying to figure yourself out, right? We all bonded over Star Wars. Yeah. And like we were able to talk about it, discuss it. People were bringing different pieces to the table, and it was super cool. We put on this super cool, skit. I think the prequels and stuff were kind of coming out around those times, and so it was just, man, it was something, And I think back to the first time that I watched Star Wars, and my mother passing on what she had learned about it, and then getting me everything that I needed so that I could watch it and enjoy it, and then just imagine and dream and pretend away in my head, and we do that now, just like even outside of Star Wars, the things that you share with your friends, that passing on a good feeling, like a good song. Here's a good song, Mike, or here's a good TV show, or whatever, that kind of stuff is like, I don't know, man, it's friendship, it's life, it's the journey. I don't know, it's just, man, we have really been reflecting. We have a lot,
man, and I think
it's crazy, man. I don't know what it is about today or this past weekend, and maybe it was like May the 4th, being with friends, and then Revenge of the 5th, and so on. It just is kind of just kept us going here. We're just
and it's really honing in that live podcast and the purpose behind it. I think that makes us reflect on why we're doing what we're doing. It's personally gratifying for us to do this, but now it's our way of making that change.
Yeah,
to try to I mean, like this past week, Star Wars, Lucasfilm, Disney, whoever did the campaign raised $1 million in like a matter of days, which is awesome. Like, it's great.
It is.
We're never going to get to that level, but like, we want to do something,
right?
And this could become a bigger thing. Great, but like, this just, I don't know. It gives purpose to us. I think that's a lot of reason why we're reflecting on it.
We're starting to think about too, like you said, they mentioned it in the opening of Forces of Destiny, the choices we make,
Yes.
Right. I mean, and we can control that. We can control how we react to things. And so we had some setbacks, and it's just like, no, I'm sorry. You don't get to tell us to, not have a good time at this live show, to not go out and get a crap ton of awesome, cool gifts, and to give them away and not have any, It's just like, I don't know, things were getting us down. It was just like, it was weird the way in which we had a friend reach out, to me, and then we had our sit down on Friday and just said, you know what, just shelf it all. We're good. Set everything aside. Let's just get back to one of our favorite games. Pass on that experience to to Matt and to Fogel, and have that shared time. I mean, that's really what we're getting at here.
Yeah.
So,
man,
I don't know, man. I don't know.
In the Sarlacc pit,
just
of emotion.
Well, I mean, you have 1,000 years there. You're being digested over 1,000 years. Long time to ponder and meditate.
Pondering with Boba Fett in the Sarlacc pit. That might be the next segment. It could go on.
Oh my gosh,
for years.
It could. So, anyways, I think I'd like to take a second though for those who are listening to reach out to us on Facebook, or if it's on YouTube, or if you're listening on iTunes, wherever. Leave a comment.
Yes.
Let us know what one of your favorite Star Wars memories or moments was growing up, or now, or recently, or what have you. It's interesting to me that one of our favorite ones is actually something that happened to us just last year.
Yeah.
You know, and I would have thought that we would have, you know, pulled from things much earlier, but no, it keeps getting better. And we keep making new memories and stuff. You need a time like this, I think, to reflect and think back, because we won't do this for a while now. After this, we'll just press on, and but every once in a while you have to stop and kind of think.
Well, isn't it cool though, like as we as individuals who grow with this franchise and appreciate it for more than just like a cool lightsaber or a cool movie or a great book or whatever, and that there's concepts behind the story that can change you. Like I said, people are probably getting sick of me comparing real life circumstances to Star Wars, and I'm saying let the past die, or, you know, failure is the best lesson. Like, it's also great that the franchise is growing with the fans. And it's embodying more experiences and more cultures and more perspective, which will make for better movies in the future. It's just, it's cool that the community is growing with the franchise, and sometimes they're letting the past die, and that's what you have to do. It's just, I don't know, man. It's so inspiring. I didn't expect this would be such an emotional podcast.
Me neither,
I think
man.
I actually had a tear.
I think you did too, and that's okay. Tears are allowed on Rebel Watch.
That's right.
So, anyways, guys, I think we'll kind of leave it there. There's more we could go on and on and on, but we do want you to you know, if you're able to attend the live event, please come out May 12th from 11 to 3 o'clock. A bunch of fun stuff. We'll just a couple of Star Wars fans having a good time, having fun. So
it is gonna be fun.
You won't interrupt us. Mike and I will be up there with some mics talking, doing our thing. If you walk by and say, "Hey, Mike and Ez," we'll say hey back.
We might throw you a comic or a lightsaber or a T-shirt.
Right.
We're gonna have a mic out. Hopefully,
in the crowd,
if we have a crowd,
if there is a crowd, it'll be on an empty chair. If you walk by, don't be intimidated.
I think so. Just pick it up and chat with us. It's all going to be filmed, so you have to be prepared for that. But we're just a couple of guys in a recession trying to make a difference, and we want people to come out and donate. It is really for a good thing.
Yeah, it is.
And we're not taking any of this. This is something that Ezra is really passionate about. We both have had experiences with children's. Ez has had. It's been a huge part of his life. And he's wanting to, you know, to throw some love back to the organization. So it's something really great to get behind. It's not the only thing we're ever going to get behind, but it's definitely, this is, I don't know, it's such an awesome thing, and there's nothing more innocent than a youngling.
Oh man, dude.
You know, there really isn't. Yeah. There really isn't.
The mind of a child. Yeah.
I'll save the impressions for the live show.
For the live show, yeah. And we'll talk more about our experiences there and what's going on at the live show. So check those out. And again, if you can't make it, no problem. If you want to support us on the GoFundMe, that'd be great.
Please.
You know, and if you want to just buy something, been waiting on buying something at Barnes & Noble, order it over this coming weekend.
That's right.
And use that voucher code, and that would really help us out quite a bit. So
I think we can actually pinpoint you to some awesome merchandise from Barnes & Noble that you'll really enjoy. Some specific books. I think we might have in mind. We can talk about those a little more detail. So we may just reference some of our faves and then encourage you to go purchase or not, whatever you choose. But
absolutely,
just we never beg for anything, not views, not comments, but this is something I don't know. I want it to be successful. I want people to just open their hearts to doing something good.
Yeah, for sure. And again, I mean, to us, man, I mean, like we were talking about the bar for it, and there is no bar.
There isn't.
So whatever, you know, comes of it is all for the good. The way I see it, you know. So
absolutely.
I think we did in the beginning. That was part of our problem. We tried to put a bar on it, or put a cap, or put a, you know, here's where we want to get. Now it's whatever comes is good. And
you're limiting yourself by, I think it's great to have goals, but you may be at first limiting yourself to that. So so why not leave it open-ended?
Wills it, my friend.
It does.
It really does.
It really does.
So, all right, guys. Thanks for listening. We are going to Mike and I are going to step off here, and we will be back with Grace Chatfield. Hopefully that's a little more upbeat conversation. I think we get into some we go to some deep dark crevices of the universe, so that should be fun. And that's just sort of a little introduction there. So stay tuned for that, and we will see you guys on May 12th at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hey Star Wars fans, welcome back to Rebel Watch. I am joined by my good friend, Grace, my new friend. I'm making her my friend. She's just going to have to, suck it up and live with it. She's now associated with Rebel Watch. So, Grace, how you doing?
Doing good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. And Grace has brought me to this new establishment. It's not new. It's new to me. It's the Westerville Library. And it is beautiful. I'm overwhelmed, just so everyone understands. If I seem a little off, we're in a really nice facility, and she's got us a study room, so we are podcasting, and there are people outside, probably going to look in here and wonder what a couple of Star Wars nerds are doing with microphones out. But we're podcasting about Star Wars. So today, I think a couple things we wanted to talk about. Grace is like super ridiculously into Legends material, and it's awesome. And I just learned, kind of shocked about how much she's read, So you want to talk a little bit about the books you've read, really, and just how you got into Star Wars?
Well, the books I've read, it goes from Darth Revan all the way up to the first book of the Fate of the Jedi series. Mm-hmm. And how I got into Star Wars was, obviously, like most people, grew up watching the movies on VHS tapes and with the prequels.
Yes.
And then later in life, I was actually attending a homeschool conference, and there was a little place you could buy books for like $4 or $5. Mm-hmm. And there was some Star Wars books, and I saw this one called Dark Force Rising. And unknowingly, I bought it, not knowing it was part of a series.
Right.
And I got it home, and then saw that in the page there was different books to this series.
Right.
So I made my parents take me to Barnes & Noble, and I got Heir to the Empire and read the Thrawn trilogy. So that's how I got into the Legends universe.
Yeah.
And then I only started getting crazy about Star Wars when 2015 when The Force Awakens came out, and I was on this discussion site called Wikipedia. There's forums on there.
Right.
So I was on there talking up Star Wars with people, and they got me onto Star Wars Amino, which is a community on the Portal app called Amino, but it's specifically for Star Wars, and that's where I write blogs about theories or post original content I have and whatnot, and just talk with my group of Star Wars buddies.
That is ridiculous. We found a gem, you guys. Seriously. This is ridiculous. She's also kind of like my Bothan spy in Barnes & Noble. So we've been talking, Grace, about we're having a live event coming up at Barnes & Noble. And so, I'm just kind of barging my way in there, and we're going to set up shop and do some giveaways and some fundraising for Children's Hospital. So, she's my contact person in there. So, I don't know, super cool. Well, that's neat. That's really awesome, actually. I mean, because now you just like reading, and so that's why you decided to once the Force Awakens comes out, you're sort of what else can I get my hands on?
Yeah, basically, I was well, this movie's really great, and I already like the original trilogy, and I've read these books. What other books are there? Right. And then I realized there was approximately 174 Legends books to get my hands on, but obviously there's some I'm not going to pick up. Courtship of Princess Leia. I'm talking about you. So that's one of them I'm not gonna get, but most of them I will, just because I want the series. Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that is awesome. That is actually really cool. So we were just talking back and forth about the books that we have read, and the reason we started our Rebel Watch book club is because some of us had read a trilogy here, or we had read a series there, or a standalone book, and so we kind of wanted just to comb back through everything. So I kind of started with a couple of the guys on the podcast back in the Old Republic, and what I thought I would do with Grace, if she will allow me, is to try to catch up to where she is at in some of the later post episode 6 series. For example, we're talking Legacy, right? Legacy of the Force.
and Fate of the Jedi.
Yep, Fate of the Jedi. New Jedi Order, that kind of stuff.
Yes. Yeah, we talked about New Jedi Order. We were looking at a place to kind of start, and oh my God, I actually attempted it. If you guys remember the podcast about right before Celebration last year, I attempted to do this whole series. I was going to do like Legends, and I started with like Vector Prime, and I was just like, what am I doing? And I was doing it by myself, so I didn't really have like somebody to like lean on and like, you know, because when you're having a discussion, like it's a lot, and so like. Yeah. And even to remember and take notes on the whole book, it's just a lot. So,
it's a lot. I mean, it's kind of hard to get through like a 9-series book like Fate of the Jedi, but to get through a 19-series book like the New Jedi Order, it kind of seems impossible. But it can be done if you have the time and the patience. Yeah. But sometimes you don't have time. But if you do, try and get through the series.
Well, and it's like it's just easier to sort of say to yourself, okay, like. You set a goal, and then the goal is 9 versus 19. It's just we can do this. I mean, 9's pretty crazy, but we can do it. But then you throw out like 19. I was like, no, we're not starting
it's not
there.
happening.
Like we know it. I think we know enough. But both of us know enough about the Yuuzhan Vong War and things that happened and stuff in it. And I've looked up enough of the Wikipedia. And like originally when I was younger, the 2 series that I never finished were Rogue Squadron, which I was telling you about,
right?
And just the New Jedi Order. I only got like I think 4 or 5 books into it or something, and I just never.
Well, that's a feat in of itself.
Yeah, it was, and I remember just certain things that would come to me, and then I'm kind of saturated with like the Wikipedia page because you just go there and you sort of like you're like, okay, this is too much. Let me just fill in all the gaps and get the bare necessities. So. I don't know. And then when I went back to sort of do the Audible, like I was trying to listen to it, they only have the abridged editions. Yeah.
Now, what does abridged mean?
So just like it's shortened. So I wanted the unabridged, like everything, you know, the 14-hour listen, and it was like 3 hours. I'm like, there's no way.
There's no way.
I was like, because I know how much time I spent in those books. There's no way. So I was a little disappointed. So maybe you can hook me up here at the Westerville Library, and I can figure out see if they have any of those.
Right.
But I think for right now, we're going to ignore that series, and we were hoping to start with Legacy of the Force, which you've already read the first book, which is Betrayal. Is that right?
Yeah, Betrayal.
Okay. But today, we're going to talk about the Fate of the Jedi series because you're in that, and you're kind of like me actually because like like Mike always thinks I'm crazy because like I'm reading Old Republic stuff, but then I'll pick up the new canon books, which would be like Thrawn and Last Shot and Bloodlines and all that good stuff, and I've kept up with the new canon because that's my job. Is like I'm trying to think like keep up with the new canon, go back and fill in all the Legends books that I never got to. Yeah, so we'll get there. Real quick before I let you dive into this, other things just so folks understand. Like the reason we're going, I guess, with the book club, like Old Republic on up to episode 1, and then post episode 6 on. It just for us, it just makes sense in our minds. It's easier to say like we're pre episode 1 and then we're post episode 6. You know what I mean? It's sort of like that's why we're doing that piece. And I had read like. What did I just tell you? The Bounty Hunter series?
Yeah, Bounty Hunter
with
series.
With Boba Fett and the Thrawn trilogy, obviously, and a bunch of Clone Wars stuff in there, Rogue Planet, Shatterpoint, all those good novels and stuff. So, but I never really got to commit to some of these series. And like, I think I was in college too when some of them were finishing up. So like when they were coming out, like, oh, this is awesome, and you get into it, and then you were waiting for the book to come out, and I like never got back into it. So I don't know. That's kind of where I was at, and now I'm ready to go back and just. Get it done.
Through everything.
Yeah. So, okay. So I'm going to turn it over to you, and we're talking about the Fate of the Jedi series. And you want to give us like an overview of what it's about and where it's at in the timeline sort of thing? Or
Well, Fate of the Jedi takes place 40-plus years after Return of the Jedi, or actually 40-plus years after A New Hope. Yeah. And it's basically about Luke being exiled after, I don't know, Natasi Dala went crazy, and she's like, I don't like the Jedi. Luke, get out of here.
She did, yes.
Yeah. And basically, so Luke takes Ben Skywalker, his son, with him, and they go out into the galaxy to retrace Jason Solo's steps to figure out why he fell to the dark side, like what happened out there, what happened to him. Right. So they're out there, and the point I want to talk about is during Luke's exile, because they go to the Maw, which, you know, cluster black holes, and they go into it. Well, in between, they can't go into a black hole, and inside the Maw, there's a place called Sinkhole Station. Okay. And Sinkhole Station, if you remember the Corellian Crisis trilogy, there was a thing called the Centerpoint Station.
Okay.
Yeah, and those two are actually connected. Centerpoint Station and Sinkhole Station were created by the Kilix colony, I think, one of them, to contain the forest deity known as Abeloth, who was the mother of the Ones.
Yes.
So the Centerpoint was kept, I don't know in what form, to keep her in there, and then Sinkhole Station was like a backup defense if she ever got out. But so, as you know, Centerpoint Station was destroyed, and Luke and Ben travel to the still functioning Sinkhole Station. And there they find a bunch of Jedi who have recently been missing, and they're like, they know they're missing, they found them, but there's something wrong with them.
Yeah.
So when Luke and Ben meet them, they're like in some form of meditation, but it's like deep, weird meditation. And one of them wakes up to speak to Luke, and they tell them something about going beyond shadows, which is basically a realm in the Force. And so the Jedi, I don't remember his name, helps Luke meditate into going beyond shadows. And how you do that is you do your regular Jedi meditation, but in your mind you envision counting to 1 to 7. And then when you reach 7, your Force spirit body, I guess, extracts from your actual body, and you go beyond shadows.
This is sounding kind of dark side.
Yeah.
I mean, this sounded kind of
I know.
dark.
When I first read it, I was like, this is weird. Why are Jedi practicing this?
It's weird. Now, wait a second. So these Jedi that went missing, was that something that happened in like under, like, when Luke was still head of the Jedi Council, or was that after, or like,
Right. It did happen when Luke was still head of that Jedi Council, and the reason they're all there is because they were called to the Maw.
Okay.
By Abeloth herself.
By Abeloth. Okay. Yeah. Got it. Okay.
As you most know, Abeloth disrupted the minds, I guess, of the people who were stationed at Sinkhole Station during the Yuuzhan Vong War, and they went crazy outside. But those Jedi who are in there meditating, going beyond shadows, were called there by Abeloth.
I mean, you're getting deep and sweaty here.
Yeah.
This is
It's scary what I'm talking about. When I first read it, I was actually kind of scared. But they go beyond shadows, and they see two places. One is like, I think, the Font of Power, and then the Lake of Apparitions. It's something like that, weird mystical names. Okay. But so they go in there. They go into the lake portion after, Luke refuses to drink from the Font of Power, which, had disrupted Abeloth when she did it. And so he avoids that, and he goes into the Lake of Apparitions, I think, and Ben is there now because he was like, my dad's not doing okay, I have to go in there and see what's happening to him.
Now, in the beginning of this, did Ben went with him on
Ben went with him. He's just at
on all of his okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's there, and then Luke starts not looking okay when he's beyond shadows because time has no place beyond shadows.
Right.
And so he's like,
so is he there too long or something, or?
Yeah, he's been there too long, and Ben put him on a feeding tube, but people in Sinkhole Station, the Jedi, keep removing it for some reason because they just want Luke to stay there. Okay. So Ben goes over to Beyond Shadows to be with his father, help get him out. And they go in the Lake of Apparitions. There they talk to the Force ghosts of Mara Jade, Anakin Solo, Jason Solo.
Wow.
Yeah. Jason, of course, is his old self just being snarky and mean to them. He's like, I forgive you and whatnot. And Ben's like, you know what? No, I'm not talking to you right now.
Right,
but, in the Lake of Apparitions, at the other end of it is the Stark Presence, which is, of course, Abeloth. Okay. And I'm going to delve into my notes here for a second because...
Sure.
Yeah. In Beyond Shadows, Abeloth is there. And I'm just wondering, why is she there? Like, I know Beyond Shadows is a realm or, like, a nexus of the Force, but is that where, like, all Force ghosts go after they like complete the proper training like Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan did? Or
you mean like the nether side of the Force or whatever? Yeah.
Because they didn't see them there, or Luke and
they didn't?
they didn't see them there, and Obi-Wan or Yoda never taught Luke about that.
Well, here's a question. Is there two sides to, like where the idea that in afterlife you could have, a heaven, a purgatory, a hell, or what have you, like different realms, right, that you could end up in? I mean, is there something like that where you're on, like they're related worlds, but perhaps they're different, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is it, but one's dark side, one's light side or something like that?
That was one thing I was thinking, that maybe it's dark side, and then that further led me to speculate that was Beyond Shadows something created by Abeloth.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because in the book, it just seems like that's her place. That's where she is, like, all the time, while also on her planet. She's Beyond Shadows.
Yeah.
Like, that was... Did she create that place? Like, for a dark side entity kind of place?
Right. And so I was trying to look up a little bit here while you were talking about Abeloth. And so you said she's the mother of the ones.
Yes.
Right? So my question is, because some of the stuff is talking about where she kind of, like, dwells, and it looks like she dwells in different places. She has moved to different places, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, but if she's the mother of the ones, like, what does that mean? What does that make her, I guess? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, what is she?
She is a force deity like them, but like the ones, there's like, the daughter who's the light side, the son who's the dark, and then the father who's the balance. But what does that make the mother?
Yeah.
But she's usually just called like the bringer of chaos. She uses the light side, she uses the dark side, she uses the in-between. She's just like everything.
Okay, now here's a question. So, and we'd have to probably look this up. Maybe you do know, but like, do you know in Clone Wars when they had that arc going on, right? The Mortis arc and the Mortis gods and what have you.
Right.
Was this book or was she a character that was there before that they wove into that, or like which came first, like the series or the book or the you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Weren't they happening around the same time? Like Fate of the Jedi was one of the later series that was released in the old Legends stuff. So, and that was when they were still working on some Clone Wars stuff, weren't they, around that same time?
Yeah, they were.
So I was just kind of wondering if they were working on that together. You know what I mean? To kind of like who wrote which story first is, I guess, what I was trying to think of. Because I know when that came up in the Clone Wars, that kind of threw people off. That's a very different I think it's 3-episode arc or whatever, isn't it?
Yeah,
it takes place over 3 episodes or something like that. Mm-hmm. And it's just kind of wild,
It is wild.
People were trying to interpret what was going on, what was happening. And I know Dave Filoni was like, they're real ambiguous about how, like, what is happening. But I never really thought about the mother.
No, because they never mention her in the show, so you don't know
exactly
what she is. So I think the story arc came first, and then the Fate of the Jedi. I guess they must have been talking with the creators of the Clone Wars.
Right.
Wove the mother into the one story arc, but she's just never mentioned.
Okay, I get it. Yeah. Because I was reading a couple quotes here about Mara Jade kind of warning them as to what she is, being ancient and powerful, and not what you would, not what she appears, or what does she say? She is never what she appears. Remember that. I guess she's like talking to Luke and Ben. But scary son of a gun, though. I mean, she is not somebody to be messing around with.
No, she was actually like the first ever kind of Star Wars character I was actually kind of afraid of.
Well, yeah, and so here's a question. So what is her purpose then? I mean, she's just like is she just converting? She's drawing these Jedi to her and corrupting them, or what's going on?
Now that's one thing I didn't understand. I know that when the young Jedi were in the sinkhole station during the Yuuzhan Vong War, Abeloth was in there, like, I guess, messing with their minds or whatnot. Ben describes it as kind of like a dark tendril trying to pull him back into them, because apparently Abeloth has like a intense fear of being alone or not having someone be around her at all times, so that's why I guess she's drawing these people in. But I don't know which book it's in. It's definitely in one of the Fate of the Jedi books, but someone calls Abeloth like the Destroyer. Like, someone believes that these Force deities or whatever are supposed to come back into the galaxy every eon to wipe out all life and start again. And I guess that's Abeloth's role, because most people call her the bringer of chaos. And I think that's what she's there for. She's there to cause chaos and to wipe out the galaxy to start it anew.
Wow. And I was reading, so when, just according to, and I'm just glancing through the wiki page, something in here was talking about that perhaps it was, this might be speculation, but like the fact that Jason Solo, like his fall to the dark side, brought her about.
Yeah.
Is that mentioned in the books, or
that is mentioned, actually. I was reading through
That's interesting.
Beyond Shadow's Wikipedia page, and there was something mentioned about that Jason Solo's fall to the dark side somehow brought about the emergence of Abeloth.
Yeah.
So when he fell, she was brought back to power.
It's almost like a dark side awakening. We have the Force Awakens, and then we've got like, Abeloth, like awakens or whatever.
Abeloth Awakens. That's much worse.
That's crazy. Because I was talking to Mike the other day, actually just yesterday, we were talking for our episode that aired today. What happens to, Sith Lords, or like, is there the equivalent of a Force ghost on the dark side? And really, in the films, we don't really talk or see much of that. But there is stuff, though, sort of in Legends books about them possessing different people. Like, what's his name?
Exar Kun.
Kun, yeah. Like, he lives for how many years? Like, doesn't he possess somebody for a while? In his spirit, I know his spirit, like, lives on Yavin 4 or something like that. Doesn't it live there?
Yeah, I think it does. I'm not entirely sure, but I have heard something about like Exar Kun's spirit living on somewhere.
So I mean, there's situations like that. There's I don't know, but this seems different though. This is not necessarily like your Force user who was she mortal at one point, or was she always?
She was mortal, because she gained her. I guess she was already Force sensitive in a way, but she became more powerful by drinking from the font of power. Okay. And then, I guess, bathing in the... no, it's not... It's the pool of knowledge. Okay. The Lake of Aberrations is something totally different. Okay. Forgot to mention that. So, there's the font of power, which she drank from, and then the pool of knowledge, which she bathed in. Okay. And that corrupted her to the way she is today. Okay. Gotcha. Wow. That is something. That is really cool. That is some deep and sweaty stuff, Grace. Yeah. Like, no joke. I mean, because that was what we were kind of... that's the type of stuff, though, that, like, I was listening to Rebel Force Radio, another podcast just the other day, and they mentioned Abeloth, and they kind of laughed it off. And the one guy, Jimmy Mack, kind of knows it, but the other guy, Jason, is just not. You have different types of Star Wars fans. You have those fans who are just like, that's not. They just don't like the literacy side of it, and they just. Not that they don't like it, they just. Don't believe it or something.
Well, I think it's books. For some reason, it seemed like it was books like post episode 6 that they weren't really a fan of. I think it was like if it happened in between, it was filler. They were okay with it because they kind of saw that they thought that was sort of getting in the way of George Lucas ever. This is back when people thought George was going to come back and do 7. People like me were telling my friends for years, I promise you it's going to happen. Just give it time. Just lay off this guy. He's going to come back and do this for us. Even though he was swearing up and down, he was saying on TV and in interviews, like, it's never happening. Done. It's over.
Never happening.
And that's, I mean, literally, I remember the days when he was saying that. But people had thought that this piece with everything that was happening in post-episode 6 had gotten in the way, and he was worried about... He would have just decanonized it. I mean, if he wanted to write his own version of Jason Solo and stuff, he's the creator of... It's fine. It's just like... it's supplemental. It would have just went to the back of our minds, and it would have been like a cool story, like an alternate version of whatever. So I don't think that was the factor, but I think that's why... I get why that's why some of those people were kind of like... They never really wanted to know what happened. They wanted to just... They kept waiting on the idea that George Lucas was going to one day do this story. So they were okay with things like the Bounty Hunter series, even though that does happen post-episode 6, but it was less... It wasn't the main characters. You know what I mean? It wasn't the Skywalker line, I guess, So it was just interesting to hear those guys talk about where they stood on, the EU and the Legends books. So two very different places, because I'm like you, all I wanted to do was read more. And I would have been fine. I can separate in my mind a George Lucas version of, Luke Skywalker later on and what we have, in the Legends books. So I don't know. And another thing, an interesting fact, when they decided to, this was early 90s, when they did that Thrawn trilogy, they just decided that like no one was allowed to do anything pre-episode 4. So like when you were writing books and novels and stuff, they said anything post-episodes, because George Lucas was going back to do episode. This is, again, early 90s, so he didn't do...
Right.
It wasn't until later in the 90s where he starts actually kind of getting things together, but I guess he had a plan. And when they were looking at the story, like, you know, they had a story group, or maybe they did, but just the books and what they were going to lay out there, Timothy Zahn is the one who kind of developed this, and it was good, and then Del Rey got involved, and they started to kind of make more of those.
God for that.
Yeah, exactly, because they organized it a little bit more, because it was going to just be the Wild West, and it was going to be
the Wild West.
crazy. Because it kind of was in the early 80s, like just some of the things that had come out, like comic books and stuff that were coming out and stuff. It was, I don't know, it was still all semi-sanctioned by George Lucas, but he wasn't paying as much attention to it because he was working on, you know, his story, I guess. So. Right. So anyways, that stuff kind of, you were told to get out of his way. And actually, my buddy Mike and Matt and I were looking at, it was called Dark Redemption. It's the Mara Jade fan film. And it was like, George Lucas held this like contest for fan films. And it was disqualified because the story actually took place right before episode 4. And it made him mad. It just made it. It was at a Star Wars celebration. It kind of made him. He's like, no. I told everybody to not touch any of that stuff. I told everybody that I don't want anybody writing or dabbling in anything pre-episode 4 because that's where he was working.
Yeah, right.
So and that made sense. And it was like literally a couple months before. But he was like, and it ended up being like a fan favorite. People were like, this is awesome, and they still loved it. And so he was just like, whatever, you know, let it go. So, but anyways, no, that's really neat. I mean, are you down then to kind of like, well, one, to help me catch up and to get through the Legacy of the Force piece or whatever.
Oh, definitely. Since
that comes first, kind of. Does it come first in the timeline? It does.
Yeah, it does
come
come
right?
first before Afraid of the Jedi.
Right. So that's Jason and his whole, you know,
his whole shebang.
Yes. All right. Cool. That's awesome. That would be great because I've read a lot of stuff about that, but I don't think I've never read the series. I've read snippets and quotes and you know the cool pieces, but I'd really like to see it all. You know.
Well, it's definitely no New Jedi Order. It's only like 9 books, so it'll be a little easier to get through.
Okay, good. That's fine. That'll be good. So we'll start that. So as a part of our book club series, you know, if you're kind of, because some people just aren't fans of the Old Republic and they don't
want anything to do with it.
And that's okay, because I kind of was that way. The reason I'm forcing myself to go back and like listen to those books, I listen to books instead of read them because it's easier for me. But like it's been really good. It's been helping me understand like just the Great Hyperspace War and the you know the Civil War that was happening and the Jedi Sith, all that good stuff. So really interesting stuff. So we will do that then. We will try to set out like a calendar if you're down.
Oh, definitely.
See, I'm just consuming. So I wanted to kind of show you guys how deep and sweaty Grace, you know, is, and then kind of go from there. So she is going to be a super valuable resource because honestly, if you think about it, I mean, it's a task, isn't it? Not daunting to go back through all of these.
Oh, it is.
Books, and I think for some people, the reason what we do on this podcast, anyways, is like we will do some non-spoiler stuff when we start, and then we'll kind of say like this is just like a brief overview, etc. Yada yada to kind of get you hooked if you want to read it. Cool, and then we'll say Spoiler City, and then we just kind of take off, and we're
just like all the spoilers.
Yeah, well, because some people don't have time to, you know, read, you know, a 9 series. That's just not they want to know the gist of it, and they want to kind of get the cliff notes and hear you talk about it. And those people who have read the series, though, because what we'll do is we'll not only just like give like a summary and kind of like detail this is what happened, talk about sequence of events, but then we'll discuss things like you know, who is Abeloth and what is actually happening on the other side of the Force, and are there things that, you know, you start to have a discussion about it versus just like, here's what happened.
Yeah, just like telling you what happened.
Right. But. So, and I like that piece more. So it's sort of like, we will quickly do that, but then we want to, you know, big discussion, takeaway points and stuff like that. Right. So, okay. Yes, I'm excited. That's awesome.
Yeah, me too. Anything Star Wars, I'm hooked. Good, awesome. So next, I think we're going to kind of switch gears, and we're going to get Grace's just thoughts real quickly on the upcoming Han Solo movie, Solo: A Star Wars Story, which is coming up in a couple weeks. And I'm not going to spoil any of the. She hasn't read The Last Shot yet. That just came out last Tuesday. Yeah.
So it's
kind of new.
It's brand new. Yeah. So you're good. My goal has been to stay, like, as soon as a new canon book comes out, I try to jump on it besides junior readers and just stay on top of it, because Most Wanted is coming out the day the movie releases, isn't it? Like, it's a book called Most Wanted.
Book Club Most Wanted. I have actually not heard of that one.
It's let me look it up here real quick. It's just called Most Wanted. Pretty sure. And I think it contains like heavy spoiler stuff. It's it's got Qi'Ra and Han in it on the cover.
Oh.
And I think they're kind of
novelization, or
I thought it was a regular novel. So here's the maybe it is junior though. Maybe it is. It's coming out on the day the movie comes out.
Okay.
So maybe you can check. You can check and let me know if it is, because if it's junior, we won't do it. But if I thought it was adult.
I actually didn't hear of that, because I'm usually checking up on what Star Wars books are coming out. I didn't see that one, so I just thought the next one was Thrawn Alliances.
God, I hope so. I cannot wait for that.
Me either.
That is going to be so epic. Okay. So yeah, we'll check on that one and get back to you guys, because it's so much reading that I'm
there's so many books.
Yeah. We actually put our Legends, our Old Republic Legends book club kind of on hold so we could get through Last Shot, and then if this is a book we need to read, then we wanted to read it too, and then get back to our Old Republic series. But I think you and I can jump into Legacy and just kind of go from there. So,
gotcha.
All right, but switching gears really quick. Let me check the time real quick. I think we are good. We went a little longer than I thought we were going to. But real quickly, we'll just get your thoughts, and then I'll let you go. But thoughts on the movie coming up? Have you seen all the trailers and the TV spots and stuff?
Yeah, I've seen most of the trailers. Not all of them, because there's quite a few. But
right.
I'm still iffy about Alden. I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Alden Ehrenreich.
Ehrenreich. Okay, I'm still kind of on the fence about how his performance is going to be, because I know of another guy that would have been a much better Han Solo, because he looks just like him. But I've seen Alden's acting in a previous film called Beautiful Creatures.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I actually don't tell anybody this, but I've watched that movie.
I actually really liked it, even though it was kind of cheesy.
Yeah. But
he was good in that. I just don't know how he's going to do as a younger Han Solo.
Right.
But I recently found out that Paul Bettany is in the movie as a character called Dryden. So that got me a little more interested in it. And then
right.
Donald Glover looks like the perfect choice for a younger Lando Calrissian.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a high point of it.
He's a stud. People are excited about him being in the movie for sure.
He's just like the perfect fit. When I heard him like do Lando's voice and characteristics in the trailer, I was like, this guy's gonna be good.
Right.
This is gonna be a good Lando Calrissian. Yeah,
and you know what I'm looking for? So like with Alden, not really. Some people are just like, they don't see it or whatever. I'm more looking for like a feel. You know, does he feel like? Does he walk like? Does he? Because those are things you can kind of control, right? Is you can pick up on mannerisms and body language and stuff like that. So I think if you look for those things, people are like, he's not going to sound like him. I'm like, he's probably not. He's probably not going to sound like him. So I'm not really going in there thinking he's going to, because I know who Alden is, and I just don't hear him as, Han Solo. But we'll see.
Right. Oh, we'll see.
So there is one character who could have played a young young Han Solo and would have been great at it, which would have been Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford, bring it back.
The old Harrison Ford playing his younger self. You know what I mean? No,
I would have loved to see that.
Oh, I'm just kidding. But so you mentioned Paul Bettany's character, Dryden. Is it Dryden Voss or something like that?
Yeah, Dryden Voss.
Yeah, and we were trying to kind of speculate a little bit on who he is. Is he just like a crime boss, a syndicate? Who is he? Like, is he? I don't know. He seems like he's a collector, though. Did you see the shot with the Mandalorian armor behind him?
Yeah, I did see that, actually.
Yeah. Okay. Now, real quick, on the spot, do you think Boba Fett will be in this movie?
If he's not, I'm going to be real disappointed, because he seems like a big villain in Han Solo's life. So their interaction must have been like earlier in their years. So.
Yeah. And you would imagine if he's got a bounty on his head and things that, that one of the, if he's a notorious smuggler and good at slipping through, you would need a notorious bounty hunter to track him down. So I just feel like they're gonna have to. Maybe it's not even that Boba Fett's after Han, but maybe they just cross paths or whatever and have an exchange, or something to build some sort of like they've had interactions. Or know of each other, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
When the movie was like in production or about to come out, I saw a news article that hinted that like some regular Star Wars villain was going to be in the Han Solo movie, and you know, it could be Jabba the Hutt was obviously the biggest candidate, or it could be Boba Fett, or some even like hoped and prayed it was a little sneak peek of Darth Vader, because we got that bit in Rogue One. We just want more.
I wouldn't surprise me if they referenced Darth Vader. I don't know that we'll see him, but I mean, that'd be crazy if we did.
That would be crazy.
That'd be crazy if he walked by or something. Do you remember like in Episode 6 when Darth Vader shows up on the second Death Star and he's just there to inspect things? You know what I mean? So it would be if, you know, Han's, you know, he's been discharged, right, from you know, the Imperial Navy. If Darth Vader is there inspecting something and he just happens to see this guy, hears all this commotion, and it's like Vader across the way dealing with somebody else. But it's just like real quick, sort of like, oh, well, that's who that is, you know, and then just moves on. I mean, something small like that is probably enough.
Yeah, that'll satiate somebody.
Yeah, exactly. So at least he's encountered him or something. I don't know. So it's just crazy. It's also crazy to kind of remember that Han Solo is the one who shot Darth Vader out of the Death Star trench.
Yeah, he did.
You're all clear, kid. So
then actually shot him on Bespin.
Yeah, exactly. So they've definitely had some straight up interaction. So anyways, so that's cool. Do you think you're... Oh, real quick, another character I wanted to ask you about was Qi'Ra. Because she's kind of mysterious, right? And like, I call her Khaleesi. You know, she's the our dragon, you know, queen or whatever. But what do you think about her, Emilia Clarke's character?
I think she looks pretty cool. I just hope there's no like romantic kind of stuff going on between her and Han. Because I just like Han and Leia. Yeah, because like when I was reading the Leia book and she was like in it with some other guy, I was like, I don't like that. It just should be Han and Leia forever. But I've been seeing some speculation about her that she might be the actual villain of the story. I don't know the character's name or don't know how to pronounce it. It's like E something.
Which one? You mean not Tobias Beckett, not
no. Like the one with all the armor and the face mask you see in the trailer once.
Oh, gosh. I can't even remember his name either, though. Yeah, I know who you're talking about, though. Yes.
People have been speculating since, you know, in the trailer, the guy Beckett's always saying, like, no one here is your friend. Don't trust anybody.
That's
like,
right.
They respect him that she could be the true villain of the story. And that's how she backstabs him.
Holy smokes. That is super cool. I've not heard that, actually. I mean, I heard that, you know, that she might be the one who betrays him, perhaps. But, like... the association with that character, I didn't put those two together. That'd be radical.
Yeah, I just hope it's not Lando.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's gonna be, you know, there's gonna be something there. They're gonna have their, you know, their misunderstanding or whatever. But I wonder too. We were, you know, in Rogue One. You know how they did that early on version of Jyn Erso growing up as like a little kid.
Yeah.
Do you think they would do something like that with Han or not on Corellia?
They might, as like a throwback to his, I guess, life and legends of how he lived on the streets of Corellia without any parents. Yeah. Could showcase a little Han Solo on Corellia. Yeah. Someone maybe picking him up, introducing him to the smuggler world.
Okay. Cool beans. Okay. All right. Any other thoughts on that movie? Anything? Last thoughts?
I don't like the former design of the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
I did not like that. I saw it and I was like, what is that? Why is that like that?
Did you? Okay. So I was surprised that they did that. Yeah. I get kind of where they're going, I guess. Like, so I think that was Ralph McQuarrie's, the original artist that was, when he first did, that was his first version. So that shocked me. Yeah. Well, I had seen it before and I was like, wait a second. You know, what is that or whatever? And then why are they doing that? You know what I mean? I get that it was like his artwork, but I was like, how's this going to work? And then I thought to the lines where Han says he's made a few modifications.
Right, and that's the modification.
Yeah.
Major revamp.
Major, yeah. And I think adding some, you know, like the drop down, like laser gun that he has in episode 4, a couple different things. I don't know. So if you get a chance to, I know you're super busy with reading and stuff, but the last shot, if you get a chance to read that, oh my God, it gives you, it's very kind of hard to follow, but I think the author Danielle, why do I keep saying Danielle? It's Daniel. Gosh, Daniel Jose Older. He actually reads the book too. Oh. So it was really kind of neat. Him and Mark Thompson kind of read it, and Older reads the part where they flash back to it's set 2 years after Jakku, and then it's when they flash back, it's to 15 years with Lando when he had the Falcon, and then it's then they'll come back to modern time, present day, and then they'll flash back for a chapter with Han when he had the Falcon 10 years before that. So there's this 15 and 10 years, and there's this gap in between. So that 15 years is where Lando hasn't met Han yet, and he's just the owner of the Millennium Falcon. Right. And then the 10 years that we're introduced to there is he's met Lando, but he's now the owner of the Falcon. So it's this in-between story where Solo, a Star Wars story, will drop. So it kind of fills in the right before it and then after it to some degree, Okay, yeah. So, but it's kind of cool. I mean, it talks about things that happened and, more about the crime syndicates and stuff that are going on. So if you get a chance, you should read that.
I was wondering maybe if the Solo movie would have a tidbit of how Han and Chewbacca met, because in the legend story they meet, I think, after Han breaks him out of the Kashyyyk work slave camp. Yep. And I wonder if they have a little tidbit of that in there.
I bet you they do. I hope so. Yeah, they have to have something like that because we have a whole book in Aftermath that's called Life Debt, and it's about Chewie and just the debt that he has filled, and then Han helping him liberate Kashyyyk and all that stuff. So yeah, I think they have to have something in there about that.
Because that's
people will be disappointed if they don't.
That's why Chewbacca has sworn a life debt to Han, right?
Yeah, exactly.
He saved him.
Exactly. Yeah. So that should be good. I regret I have not read the Han Solo trilogy, and so it's something that I wish I would have read. I don't know why. I was just more into Luke and the Force and Jedi.
Yeah, right.
And so I just never got into it. And even I'm surprised that I read the Bounty Hunter series actually, with the Mandalorian stuff, because I'm not really that big of a fan when it comes to Mandalorian stuff and Mandalore and
unless it's like Boba or Jango.
yeah, exactly. All the ancient Mandalorian stuff. I've learned more about it, and it is kind of cool that they each had a Mandalore with a helmet that was passed down. That was cool. But so. Okay, are you excited though? Are you excited to at least you're going to go watch it when it comes out?
Oh yeah, I'll go watch it definitely. I don't know if it's going to be on opening day because schedules and whatnot, but I'm definitely excited to see it how it turns out. I hope it's not disappointing like everybody's been hyping it up to be. Yeah. Yeah, like with Rogue One, that didn't turn out like anybody thought.
Right.
Yeah, so
I know
this might surprise.
You're a fan of Rogue One, right?
Oh yeah, I love Rogue One.
Okay,
I don't care if there wasn't all the Force and the lightsaber. The Darth Vader bit was enough. Right. And the other part of the story was cool. Yeah,
and then Jeddah and the temple with the Kyber crystals and Qi'Ra and stuff like that, and being blind, and it was
another side of the Force.
Yeah, it was. It was great. It was awesome. So okay, that's good. I'm excited too. So we're actually a quick update for people who are listening. Mike and I will be up in Cleveland to watch that. We're actually going to go up there and we're going to listen to Rebel Force Radio. They have a live podcast going up there. It's called Solo in Ohio. So if you haven't checked it out, if you're interested, I'm not sure if they still have tickets or not, head over to their website, check it out, and come on up with us and join us. We're just going to be in a theater listening to them podcast after they watch the movie up there in Cleveland. So take a look at that. But Grace, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I'm sure we will have you back. You and I will have to set a schedule, and we will figure out a time to just plow through all that juicy Legends material.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you. I really do appreciate it. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. And as always, may the Force be with you.